Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1991, written by Alittlebitmorbid. Echoes of J on a warm spring day. This happened a few years ago, and whenever it's this time of year, I remember it because his birthday is coming up. My mom had an ex, I'll call him Jay for this, who she was with for a few years. He was like a stepdad to me. We didn't always get along, me being an angry teenager and him not being the easiest person. But in the time before he passed, sudden heart attack at age 49, our relationship got better, which made it much worse when he suddenly was gone. He died in 2013. Sometime after that, I can't remember how much time had passed, but it must have been about a year after. I was grocery shopping. The supermarket was nowhere near where Jay used to live or work. It was a sunny, warm day. I was done with shopping and had just returned my cart and was making my way across the parking lot, back to my car, when I saw a car of the same make, model, and color as his. Not too unusual. Then a guy dressed the same way Jay used to was walking up to it. Just saw him from behind at that moment. Black jeans, black t-shirt tucked in, leather belt, same haircut and color. Okay, I thought, not a weird way to dress, could be any guy. Haircut and color weren't rare as well. He opened the door of his car, turned around like he knew I was watching, smiled and waved at me, then got in. I could not move, I was shocked. I then hastily walked back to my car. Could not be him, it could not be. I had parked my car in reverse, so when I sat down in it, I could see other cars coming and going. I opened my window because I had to gather myself for a moment, and it was hot in the car. Then I saw his car leaving his spot. He had to pass my car, and so I got a closer look. He had a few feathers bound together with a leather strip hanging from his rear mirror, like Jay always had. His window was down, he wore sunglasses, same shape and color, just like Jay did. He looked exactly as I remembered him, and he was blasting one of Jay's favorite songs. He again smiled and waved at me, and then drove away, still smiling. I must have sat there for about half an hour. I was at his funeral. He was cremated. I held his urn. We cried and mourned him. My mom also went there even though they were not a couple anymore, but I had just seen him in broad daylight. I mean, the smiling and waving could have been because I was staring at him, and he was a random guy who felt flattered that a woman half his age was staring at him. But everything, every detail I saw, car was the same. It was an older car, the color not too common. Clothing and style were the same. The sunglasses, the feathers, the music, his mannerisms, the way he walked, waved, smiled, it felt unreal. Like I had witnessed something I should not have seen, like a secret. Also, him turning around when he was in his car, then looking at me like he knew me. Like he knew I was there. Case notes from 1991. Echoes of a J on a warm spring day. Okay, so there's two sides to this. Was it just a random person that, indeed as you say, was happy that a younger woman was paying attention to him? But he looked so familiar and even had the same leather straps and stuff in the car. It seems unlikely that this was just a random person. But if it was the Jay you knew, why did he only smile at you? Normally, if you recognize someone in public that, you're familiar with and or very close to, you'll approach them, not just smile and wave. So that seems like a disconnect, but maybe it really was just seeing into a different parallel universe where Jay is still alive. Though even in that case, why would he be in this specific store? Seems odd. And the timing has to be, even then. It could be a glitch, but it's still a coincidence, just for the timing of the place you're in to see him. The other alternative is some witness protection, faked his death or something, but I definitely side on this being the person you knew, in one version or another. Case file number 1992. Written by herbertwong. Wrong car, right punch. My friend in a crunch. A blue beaten down old Peugeot was idling in front of my entrance when I came out of my building to wait for my friend to pick me up. He drives a tiny blue, the exact same rare shade of blue, beater Peugeot, so this was obviously his car. I approached it and I saw this really fat dude with a beard and glasses sitting in the driver's seat. He looked exactly like my friend, who was also fat. Not that fat, but I thought he might have put on a few pounds. Since last week, I don't know. But I thought maybe he had a rough day yesterday and looked bloated or something. So I rip open the door, get in, and amicably punch his fat, like I sometimes do. And the dude just stares at me, and I stare back at him. As I mentioned, he has the same beard, the same hair color, same age, same glasses. Everything was the same as my friend's, but something was off. Why wasn't he saying anything? Why didn't that familiar feeling kick in? My brain couldn't compute what the hell was going on for a hot minute, and we both just sat there and stared. And then I realized, this wasn't my friend. I had just sat down in a complete stranger's car and punched this complete stranger in the gut. I said something like, "Oh," and got out and walked away. I wonder what the dude thought was happening. It's like the map didn't load right or something when I exited my building onto the street. My actual friend arrived a couple minutes later. Caissons found 1992. Wrong car, right punch. My friend in the crunch. Okay, this is just funny. I mean, you can't deny if you were in this person's position, you would be laughing like crazy, confused, befuddled, out of your mind, but laughing like hell. Punching his fat, watching it ripple around. But it's just a stranger. Or was it your friend from a different universe? But in that universe, he doesn't know you? Why would he be there? If not to pick you up, even if it's a different universe. Maybe you look different than what he was expecting? Maybe thinner? So he was confused because it didn't seem like it was you because it wasn't his you. Sort of like an imperfect doppelganger. Case file number 1993, written by Lost Me Down the Spiral, Physics-Defying Chair, Aldi's Strange Affair. One day I was at Aldi's. I was standing in line waiting to check out. In the lane to my left was a tall stack of chairs interlocked, maybe about 10. The kind with hard plastic seats on metal frames, like school chairs, but they were adult-sized. They were all stacked like puzzle pieces. The stack wasn't leaning or tilted at all. The stack was about 5 feet to my left. I was looking right at them when the top chair rose straight up about a foot, and then cartwheeled over onto the ground loudly. Just the one chair. I don't know if the other people in line were looking at the chairs when it happened. They of course heard it and reacted. I kept looking at their faces and mumbling, "Anyone else see that?" No one seemed to hear me. It was seriously shocking. The chair went up and then fell. It didn't fall over either, it cartwheeled. It flipped completely upside down in the air before it fell, and it fell with way more force than it would have if it had just fallen over the side of the stack like normal. I'll never understand how that happened. I know it's not that big of a deal probably, but it didn't move within the laws of physics. It really scared me. The legs went down over the chair under it, the way it was stacked, and held it in place. It shouldn't have been able to move unless the whole stack fell together. If you had walked up to the stack of chairs and pulled on it, in any direction, it would have pulled the chair under it also, and so on, causing the whole stack to fall over. There was no way to pull one chair off like that. Caissons from 1993, Physics-Defying Chair, Aldi's Strange Affair. Well, it sounds like this Aldi is, suffering from a poltergeist of sorts. The Haunting of Aldi. Just that in of itself is kind of funny. Can imagine Casper haunting the grounds of Aldi and having the store make its name and reputation based on being haunted. Or it was literally just an anomaly in the local regional physics that occupied those chairs. Then you ask yourself, okay, well, what if that anomaly had affected someone else, a real human being? They would have flown off, banged their head and their body and broken bones. So I would consider yourself lucky, one way or another.